Welcome to this week's episode of Biz Success in 15, where top experts share hot tips and strategies that you can implement in as little as 15 minutes to build your dream business. And now here's your host, the Visibility Wiz, Cindy J.
Hi, I'm Cindy J, the Visibility Wiz, and welcome to this episode of Biz Success in 15, where top experts share hot tips and strategies that you can implement in 15 minutes or less. Today, our guest is Lou Bortone, and he's known as the video Godfather. We're not exactly for sure why, and frankly, I'm a little bit afraid to ask. But what we do know is that Lou has been a pioneer and a thought leader in the video space since the launch of YouTube in 2005. He's helped thousands of entrepreneurs and companies create and leverage online video to build their brands and dramatically grow their revenue. Prior to his industry-leading work in online video marketing, Lou spent over 20 years as a marketing executive in the television and entertainment industries, including stints as the national promotional manager for E! Entertainment Television and senior vice president of marketing for Fox Family Worldwide in Los Angeles. Lou's a popular speaker, author, and ghostwriter of 6 business books, and he's recently released his book, Video Marketing Rules: How to Win in a World Gone Video. Welcome, Lou. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thanks, Cindy. Thanks for the intro, and it's good to be here.
And to begin with, I'd love to ask you if you can share a challenge, either personal or business, that you had to overcome in order to achieve your level of success.
Yes, one that I can think of is that I really don't like being on camera, and that's kind of hard when
That is funny.
I was always sort of behind the scenes in the TV biz, never on camera, never on air, always doing marketing stuff. And when I started doing video and realized, oh my God, I have to be on screen now, so that was kind of hard to overcome. And the way I did it really was just, sometimes I was just goofy, or I put pets or dogs in the video, or I'd wear costumes, or, anything to take the attention off me. And then eventually, I just had done it so much that it didn't faze me too much after that.
Right. I love that. And it's very interesting to me how many people I've spoken to that come from the television industry that are afraid to be on camera.
Mm-hmm.
That it's like something that has to be overcome. And I love it because it shows that regardless where you're at, a lot of us fear that really personal interaction whenever we're the spotlight and we're talking to somebody else.
Right. Yes.
And when people come to you and they talk about just that, the fear of being on video, what tips do you give them?
Yeah, usually I say, if you start with something that's relatively easy and informal, like Facebook Live, there seems to be kind of less judgment there. It's sort of a come as you are party.
Mm-hmm.
And again, if you're on Facebook Live, there's that interaction with other folks, so that makes you more comfortable. Other than that, I often tell folks to do stuff like this, like interviews or Zoom, where you're sharing the screen with somebody so that you're not sort of the only person on camera. And a lot of folks get used to it that way. Like, okay, if it's an interview format, then I'm more comfortable with it.
Right. I know that's what really helped me personally a lot was being interviewed back on the Google. What was that called when people were doing a lot of the Google
Right. Hangouts.
Hangouts. Yeah, Google Hangouts. And that's how I got comfortable with video. You talked about video, Facebook Live, and I know that you really, your forte is YouTube. So what's easier to build your business, and how do you sort of use Facebook Live for the best benefit versus YouTube?
Yeah, and you can really do both. They're not necessarily mutually exclusive, but YouTube I use more, sort of like, okay, that's my video home on the web and all my videos are there, and I do tips videos and usually that stuff that's pre-recorded and produced, whereas Facebook Live is like, oh, hey, I'm at this conference, I'm just going to, pull up my iPhone and do a quick Facebook Live. So those are more sort of in the moment, on the go, whereas the stuff that I do on YouTube is a little bit more planned out and a little bit more pre-produced, I guess you'd say.
Mm-hmm. And how about the length of them? What would be the best length for Facebook Live versus the best length for YouTube?
Right. Facebook Live, usually around 10 minutes, because it gives you time to build an audience and let folks know that you're there. Mm-hmm. I don't particularly like being on that long. I like to sort of do, get on and off. Mm-hmm. But, 5 to 10 minutes on Facebook Live seems to be really good. And on YouTube, it's, less than 2 minutes. If you can do something really quick tips, quick hits, the shorter the better on YouTube, unless you're doing something like a webinar or a teaching thing where obviously it has to be a little bit longer.
So with the 2 minutes, I thought a long time ago I'd heard 3 minutes. So is it that the population's attention span has lessened, or do you believe it's always been less than 2 minutes?
Yeah, no, I think it's gotten shorter and shorter. I mean, I remember when I was first doing videos, like, oh, 5 minutes is fine. And then, folks were saying 3 minutes. And I know, you can look at your own YouTube analytics if you're doing videos and see if there's a drop off. I usually notice a pretty significant drop off at about 1.5 minutes or like 90 seconds. So, really is if you can possibly get your message out there in the shortest way, that's the way to go.
And what tips, what little secret tips and strategies do you have to even grow your YouTube channel?
Yeah, that's a tough one, because YouTube is now almost set up so that the bigger creators or the sort of YouTube celebrities have a distinct advantage. I mean, you have to have a certain amount of subscribers or viewers to have some of the features. But in general, it's really just mostly about, serving and sharing tips and sharing expertise and trying to make that connection. And really, before you start selling, you really want to kind of serve and put your information, expertise out there.
And I know some people are like longer, but even with the shorter ones, you have your description that you put in there, which I know you're supposed to use your keywords, then you do your keywords.
Yeah.
But for me, even personally, it seems like that has been one of the hardest, for lack of a better word, social media places to really get more grounded in.
Yeah.
And how much the SEO tips work in here? How much are you really utilizing it? Or is it more just you publicizing your YouTube videos in other places?
Yeah, it's a little of both. I mean, with YouTube, it still kind of comes back down to the title, description, and tags. So, if you really, a lot of YouTube creators start with a title or a subject even before they do the video. Like they'll say, okay, let me go see what's trending or what's hot or what, titles are getting a lot of search phrases, and they work backwards from that, sort of reverse engineer it so that they start with, okay, this is a popular subject, this is a good title, now I'll go create the video. So they sort of start with the keywords first and work backwards. And then it's a matter of promoting, once you're on YouTube, you can share it to LinkedIn or Facebook or wherever. So you got to kind of let folks know it's there.
And how about the description? I use the title and the keywords, but how long should a good description be whenever you're posting?
Yeah. They give you a ton of space for a description. So I would use as much as possible. And what I do is I look at like the late night talk shows like Fallon and Kimmel do a really good job with this. So they'll have a couple of lines about what the video is about, and then they'll have all this sort of copy and paste text like, oh, if you want to see our Facebook stuff, it's here. So they have like a lot of links and a lot of additional information. So YouTube has something called upload defaults. So you can put in a generic description that appears every time, and then just append that with sort of like the first couple lines of the what the video is about, and the rest of it's sort of the generic description, which can be a bio or it can be even the transcript of the video if you decide to do that. But they give you a lot of real estate for the description, so you may as well use it.
Okay. And also, I know that you say that every, blogger, entrepreneur should have 5 main videos. Can you quickly share what those 5 videos are?
Yeah, if I can remember them. Homepage video on your website homepage, an About Me video, which can be on your About page, and that can sort of be a longer version of your homepage video. Facebook Live is another type or kind of video you want to have. A YouTube tips series so that you've got a presence on YouTube. And the last one is video email, which I've gotten really enamored with lately.
With a video email, do you actually embed the whole video in the email? And does that go into spam more if the spam folder's more?
You can. It depends. If you do it on Gmail and you attach a video, it'll go right into the video. Right into the email. But lately I've been using software called Loom at useloom.com. And that just sort of puts you, you can open up a web page and then you show up in this little bubble and kind of do your quick little video email that way. So I've been using that quite a bit. And then you can send that, right as a regular Gmail, and people will see the video.
Oh, okay. And that's Loom, Loom?
Yeah, it's useloom.com.
Useloom.com. Okay. Very, very cool. Lou, do you have a strategy that our listeners can implement in 15 minutes or less to grow their business?
Yes. In fact, I just mentioned Loom as one of the kinds of videos that you may want to do at useloom.com. And what I've been finding is that when I use that video email, it doesn't have to be Loom, but that's the way I do it. It's a really great way to connect and build know, like, and trust, and really get people's attention. I mean, we all get thousands of emails and just tons of regular emails, but we don't get as many video emails. So what I'm finding is that really gets people's attention. If people are hard to reach, sometimes if I'm prospecting or trying to reach a new client, just a couple of weeks ago, I did one for a guy that I've been trying to reach for months. And he's like, "Oh, I got your video email. That was really cool." And he responded to it. So I would say a really good business building strategy that's sort of low hanging fruit is to do those video emails as a way to do direct outreach to folks.
Okay, so it's really good, if I'm understanding you correctly. It's not something you would use like whenever you're using your Infusionsoft or Aweber or PicMonkey. It's something whenever you're personally reaching out to prospective clients, or even prospective people that you want to network with, or collaborative partners.
Yeah, exactly. So I really see it as a one-on-one, sort of a direct outreach to an individual rather than an email blast.
Right. And that way you can personalize each email, and it makes it better, because then I could get on and say, "Hey, Lou, I'm doing this event and I'd love to have you." And
right.
Then it's more personal, and it's better than the person reading it because they feel more involved with you.
Exactly. Like if you come back from a conference and you've got a stack of business cards, rather than just sending an email, "Hey, it was nice to meet you." You can put your face in there and say, "Hey, it was so great to see you at the conference last week. I hope we can stay in touch." So it's just a lot more personal and engaging.
And that's a great idea in of itself after a networking event, because you meet so many people forget, who you are, faces. And
right.
So whenever you have the video, they're going to automatically remember your face and go, "Oh yeah, I remember that person."
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a really great way to engage and connect and kind of stay in touch as well.
Yeah. Very, very cool. I'm going to have to give that a try. Thank you very much for sharing that. Mm-hmm. And I know that you have a wonderful, wonderful gift for our listeners. Can you share a little bit about it?
Sure. Yeah, a lot of folks tell me that they run out of things to say on video, or they're not sure what kind of content or ideas to use on video. So I put together 99 video content ideas. So never run out of things to say, never run out of content. So you can get that freebie, and it just has a whole list of all kinds of different content ideas and topic ideas for doing video.
Mm-hmm. And I really like that, because so many people do like, what do I talk about? What do I say? And if you're only doing short 2-minute videos too, and you have these different content ideas, 99 of them, then you can go pretty quickly with them and probably create a lot of them at first, put them out. And talking about even whenever you're distributing them on YouTube, do you think that there's, like, people say you should blog at least once a week, or you should send an email at least once a week? Do you find that there's a specific amount of YouTube that you should be doing for the best traction?
It really depends. I mean, some creators, YouTube creators will do it every single day. I tend to do it in batches. So I may say, okay, I'm going to do a video series and I'm going to do 10 videos over 2 weeks, or things like that. So it's really personal preference. I mean, obviously consistency is key. And if you can do it once a week or be on some kind of a schedule, that's going to be better.
Okay, the consistency is always key. Yeah, I was thinking with the 99 content ideas and little 2-minute tips, if you did them daily or Monday through Friday or 2 or 3 times a week, that would probably build up traction a little bit more.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, and for our listeners, you want to head on over to bizsuccessin15.com/Lou, that's Lou, all lowercase, and grab your 99 video content ideas. I mean, how great is that? Thank you so much for offering such a fantastic free gift to our listeners. It's really appreciated, Lou. And to our listeners, whenever you're there, be sure to re-listen to Lou's words of wisdom. You'll want to have pen and paper so you get your, jot down the 5 videos that you should have, and really start using video. Practice is key. And a lot of you have heard me say before, when I first started, I used to my name is Cindy. I was just frozen to the camera, and it takes practice, and you can practice, and nobody ever has to see these videos. And even Lou, who was so big in the television industry, still didn't want to be on camera. So it's something anybody can overcome if you try. And Lou, do you have any parting words for our listeners?
I would say just that, don't underestimate the power of video in terms of building know, like, and trust, and in terms of making connections, especially if, like me, I'm not a big networker, but it allows you to sort of do online networking without having to go to a ton of events and things like that.
Right. And one thing that just popped into my mind, so one last question for you, Lou. He's talking about the power of video. Is you're showing yourself, being you on camera, more effective than showing a bunch of slides, or does it matter?
It depends on the purpose of the video. Obviously, if I'm doing a webinar, I'm going to rely a lot more on slides. But if I'm doing a tips video or a video email or something that I want to be more personal, then appearing on camera is a lot more powerful. And again, you're making that connection. People are able to put a face to the name, and that's just the most engaging way to do it.
Right. And that builds up the know, like, trust factor that you've been talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. So Lou, I want to thank you very, very much for being my guest today. It's been a pleasure interviewing you. Thank you for sharing your words of wisdom. To our listeners, 2 things. You want to head on over to bizsuccessin15.com/Lou and grab your 99 content ideas for video. Over to Amazon and grab Lou's book. It's a great read, and it is Video Marketing Rules. So run over to Amazon, and Lou's holding up his book. So Video Marketing Rules. Run on over to Amazon and grab your book as well. With that, be sure to tune in next week for another great episode of Biz Success in 15. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to Biz Success in 15. For all links mentioned in today's show, and to watch or listen to previous episodes, visit bizsuccessin15.com. Thanks so much for listening, and be sure to tune in next week for another amazing guest.